Hello, this is Mansi from Mansi Makes, and this is episode 1 of the Artist's Way series where I showcase my journal pages that have been guided from the book, The Artist's Way, in conjunction with the 21-day workshop being led by Andrea of A Work of Heart Studio with prompts that she's been providing. So this particular day, we were supposed to work on core values and went through a list of words that resonated most closely with us, which is what you see me writing down in my journal here. That's what I'm covering up with paint. So I've been writing down exercises based on these prompts and then covering them up with color. And that's kind of my way of artistically seeing how those core values express themselves in color and art, not just through words. And I don't ever select my colors based on a color palette. It's mostly what's the mood I'm in, what am I feeling like, and that's the color that I gravitate toward. And for some reason, I picked up the red, the gold, and the aqua. And I picked up a comb from Jelly Arts that I use in my gel plate prints and just went through that gold, and something just emerged right away. The burst of energy on this page was so tangible with that texture. It was just amazing to witness that happen without any set intention of making that happen. It was just in the moment, and that's kind of the energy flow for me, is in the moment, stream of consciousness painting, stream of consciousness art. No room for thinking, let alone overthinking, and that's kind of where I can let loose and play and see what emerges. It's a journey of discovery, of self-discovery for me too, and a discovery of art. And when I used the heat gun, I had no idea the paint would start bubbling up and create those amazing textures. It suddenly made the page come alive. I could touch those bubbles. The coarseness of that texture just spoke to me so much. And that mandala motif on the side, there was this kind of balance that was happening with that very, very tangible, cannot be missed texture on one side of the journal spread and that very soft mandala design on the left. And then when I added the green, I kind of made that mandala disappear. Again, there's no intent behind any of this. It's just me playing with colors and trying to see what's my mind telling me, what's my soul telling me, where's my heart at. And sometimes the thing is that we fall so in love with what we've created, we are afraid of destroying it. It becomes too precious. And that's kind of where I'm coming in and telling you to give yourself permission to play. It's okay. Don't get too wedded with what you're putting down on paper. Just pick up a stencil, pick up some paints, do your thing, see where it leads you, and don't worry about losing elements. They'll still peek through. My writing still peeks through in some parts of these pages, as does that mandala motif that is not as evident right now, but it is still there, and I know it. And the energy that those words infused into those pages is always going to be there. So don't worry about that aspect of it. And really, it's hard for me to explain why I am doing what I am doing. It's more in the moment, this felt right, hence I did it. And that's what I would encourage you to try to explore as well. I did want to stamp out the words core values because I wanted that to be a reminder. And if you go into the psychoanalysis of this piece, I think what I was trying to do was establish that there's life and that there are core values that guide your life. And then there's all of this other stuff around the core values that takes place. There's a lot of tumult, there's a lot of despair, there's a lot of agony, there's a lot of just little moments and big moments that kind of define life as is, all these everyday moments. And it's transition, it's movement, it's a journey. But what stays constant are the core values. You can write your story many different ways depending on which season of life you're in, and the way you look back at yourself, the way you look back at your experiences, it's all going to be different. But you reach a point in life where those core values become the guiding principles, and no matter what else happens, they are the ones that guide you through. They are the ones that illuminate your life and the way you lead it. And that's kind of, I think, where I was going. That's the psychoanalysis bit after the fact. In the moment, of course, I had no idea that that's what I was trying to portray or convey. In the moment, I was just playing with marks and colors and just seeing what works and creating some kind of a balance and some kind of a harmony, at the same time creating some kind of a discord. And I really did try to limit myself to these colors because these are the colors that spoke to me. So it was the gold, the red, a little bit of that green, the aqua, and the white. And then all the stamping that I did was with the black. And it was just a matter of kind of figuring out what goes where. And I felt like I needed some more words with the word life. And shaking up kept coming as I was digging through the box where I keep my word cutouts. And as soon as I put shaking up next to life, I was like, yeah, that works. Shaking up life. There are so many things that shake us up every single day. There might be, little things, big things that trip you. And again, what do we go back to? The core values. And so when I brought that white back in, it was like, okay, let's, cut through that stuff, the chaos and everything else that's kind of pulling away at us, and let's focus on what's important. What really is it? What matters? What is it that guides us into doing what we do, how we think, the actions we take, the words we choose to speak, the way we live our lives, the person that we are becoming? What is it? It's the core values. And so I kept going back to that idea of highlighting. And I love this particular stamp set from Berhit Kopsen. It has so many different elements that wherever I felt there were vacuums of white space, I could just stamp those down, and they filled those spaces up beautifully with that abstract nature, musical notes, some words, some stitching pattern. It's just amazing how it just kind of brings the whole page together. And so when you see it, this page in its entirety, it felt like, there were things that were interconnected. There's a big red streak under the word core values connecting with the shaking up life. And that's how I feel about it, that, no matter what goes on, there's a lot of events, there's a lot of things that are interconnected. And there's so much in this page that kind of, makes you think about how you landed where you are right now. There's a lot of texture, there's a lot of color, there's a lot of depth. But what stands out are the core values, because that is what grounds me. That is what grounds you. And your expression of these core values will be very different because your experiences are different. Your color choices will be different. The way you express yourself through your art on these pages will be different. But I just want to encourage you to just let loose and play and see what emerges. Don't be afraid. Think of it as the page that nobody will ever see, and then go on an adventure with yourself and just have fun. Just enjoy the process, as I always say. So I hope this was of some value to you. I will continue this series with other pages in my journal as I continue making them. And if you have any questions about the process or about my art philosophy, or just want to chat in general, just drop me a message and I'll be happy to connect with you. As always, on social media, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and you can always drop me an email at info@mansimakes.com. So I will make sure to connect with you, and thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for your support as always.